The squad will then be brought back to Earth, seeing the planet in ruin. The Supreme Kai explains that this planet was subjected under an evil tyrant over a decade ago, so not much life exists there anymore. This makes BARDOCK smirk, as it means he doesn't have to hold back, though they need to locate where Bobbie's ship is, but Granola cuts them off. Oatmeal can see the life signatures all in one place, so that's the best place to start. Moro remarks that he feels a magical presence in the same location, so he's probably correct. A bit unnerved at being allies with the goat, Maris asks him why he's tagging along. Moro smirks, telling them that he wants another taste of Kakarot's delicious ki. Don't get him wrong, he's not there to help by any means. If they try to get rid of him though, he'll simply consume them as a light snack. As they let this feeling of unease fade, the group flies over to Bobbie's ship. When they arrive, they spot Bobbie's large group of forces. There appears to be mutated Namekians and Saiyans all within his forces. Clearly, the wizard has been busy. Not wanting to waste time, BARDOCK flies down, telling them that he'll handle the Saiyans, and with their cover blown, the others all follow suit. With the large group there, Dabura and Bobbie quickly move inside their ship, sending the weakest among the ranks to hold off everybody else. Gohan and Maris both tell the others to go on ahead while they hold off the weaker fighters. They agree, and so the Kais, Kakarot, Broly, Vegeta, and Granola all enter the ship. Outside, BARDOCK will be face to face with a dozen Majin Saiyans, along with his former squadron members. BARDOCK questions why they'd give in to the wizard's magic, and Tora explains how the wizard not only saved them, but also granted them power. He's done more for them than the king ever has, and more than he ever will. Symbolizing this, Tora, Fasha, Shugesh, and Borgos all power up into Super Saiyan, smirking down at BARDOCK. The king tells the Saiyans that he's only gonna give them one chance before powering up into Akari, and with that, BARDOCK began a fight with the Majin Saiyans. He pretty easily beats the weaker ones, killing them without much thought. His old friends though were much stronger and had been practicing teamwork for years, making it harder for him to compete with, so he powers up into Super Saiyan, preparing to take them down. Meanwhile, Gohan and Maris would be fighting against the demon spawn together. Neither of them were trying to kill their opponents, especially due to the massive power gap they have. Instead, they were fighting to knock them out for capture. They finish up their opponents rather quickly, leaving the duel to tie them up. As Maris gets done, he sees Gohan looking at BARDOCK killing his own subjects. It's clear that the boy feels sadness at that. Under his breath, Gohan says that it's always the same. Before either can do anything though, Gohan is kicked into the ground. A large figure floats in the air, asking how a brat could take down his strongest kids. King Piccolo floats in the air with the Majin symbol placed upon his head. That isn't all though, as since Bobbie also unlocks her potential when he gives you the Majin Amp, that means King Piccolo will also have access to the ultimate form. Keep that in mind for the future. Gohan will begin fighting Piccolo, with them being fairly even. The Saiyan child though even has a slight advantage. Maris simply watches, observing Gohan fight. Due to Piccolo's personality, he'd be mocking Gohan as well as remarking that the other Saiyan really knows his stuff, killing his own comrades without a second thought. Truly an evil act. All these words begin to get to Gohan as his anger began to rise. This gets Maris worried, feeling his emotions becoming more aggressive. After all, he's a part of BARDOCK's bloodline, so him getting angry is not a good sign. To prevent this, Maris would decide to simply zap Gohan from behind, knocking the boy out. Maris apologizes to him, but he doesn't want him to become like them. Piccolo tries to exploit this opening to kill the duo, but Maris moves too quickly, knocking him out too. As Maris goes to tie him up, a figure appears in front of him, thanking him for his service. He introduces himself as Kami and explains the situation with King Piccolo. He will take the responsibility for him. Then he nods to BARDOCK, mentioning that the agent has bigger fish to fry right now. As Maris left, Kami would use the Mafuba, finally sealing away his evil half for good. BARDOCK would now be able to defeat his former comrades, knocking them all out rather savagely. They'd all be laying on the ground unconscious, badly damaged, but with the Majin Amp, they wouldn't be out for long. He apologizes for letting them end up like this, as he raises up his hand to destroy them. Before he can though, Maris moved in the way, telling BARDOCK not to. They're already down. He doesn't need to kill them. Besides, he'd just be wasting more ki. While BARDOCK doesn't care, he powers down, telling Maris that they're his responsibility then. Now they have to simply wait for the others and hope they can win this. In the ship, the group all move through and are met by PHY. Vegeta takes him on and ends up killing him easily, though he'd likely have to use Super Saiyan. Broly would take on Yakon and would overwhelm him with his light, making him blow himself up, but they're then all teleported back to the surface. They're confused until everyone hears Bobbie's conniving laughs. Thanks to the fights already, they have more than enough energy to awaken Buu, so they do so, releasing the Jin. Moro mentions how his ki feels a lot like the Grand Kaioshin, with Shin confirming that he absorbed him long ago. Wanting to defeat the god once and for all, Moro decides to step up and combat him, though he won't be doing it alone. He tells his delicious meal to take the lead on this one. Kakarot powers up to Super Saiyan, telling Moro that he doesn't have to tell tell him twice. Don't treat him like he's a special dish though. Granola would want to fight Deborah, as he hasn't had a fight yet, so he'd activate his second right eye, beginning to combat the Demon King. While Deborah's magic would pose an issue, Granola is strong enough to avoid anything he can throw. He targets Deborah's vitals and takes them down, leaving the Majin on the ground incapacitated. Granola then turns around to assess the situation with Buu, not noticing Deborah getting back up. Thanks to the Majin boost, it'll take a lot more than that to put him down. Thankfully, Vegeta steps in and uses the Big Bang attack to finish him off. He then cockily remarks to the Cerealian that it's nice to know how easy he is to trick. Kakarot and Moro would be pretty easily beating Buu, chuckling at how weak he truly is. Unfortunately for Moro, his magic techniques that utilize the planet will be much weaker due to the planet's weak state. That wouldn't be important though, as Kakarot pretty easily makes up for it. Even with Moro eating his ki, Moro would take the opportunity to consume Bobby, taking his magic in the process. There can only be one wizard. By the end of the fight, Kakarot just toys with Buu, using him as a punching bag, making Shin rather uncomfortable. He asks the Saiyan to please end this now, but Kakarot ignores this. He hasn't had this much fun in years. Buu would be terrified of Kakarot as he continually gets knocked around. Subconsciously, Buu's defense mechanism kicks in to save him from certain death. His body opens up, wrapping around Kakarot and engulfing him in the pink gooey body. Everybody looks on in confusion and then in horror as Buu absorbs Kakarot, his entire body shape changing as his endless aura bursts out. Immediately, Broly, Vegeta, Granola, and Bardock all step up to fight using their strongest forms, with the exception of Bardock, who's only using Super Saiyan. While Moro appears to help initially, after tasting Buu's ki, he decides that it's not for him. The Supreme Kai questions why he isn't helping, to which he explains, while Buu is an interesting taste, all the unique ingredients are bogged down. He is no longer interested, and without saying anything else, he teleports away, shocking everybody. As Buu fights, his strength will grow like Kakarot, however, it's not as drastic. Clearly, Buu can't utilize the full strength of Kakarot just yet. Despite this though, Buu is strong enough to defeat them all thanks to his weird moveset, as well as just being purely stronger than them now that he's absorbed Kakarot. Maris would approach Kami, telling him that it appears his planet isn't long for this world. The offers will be fine, but they need to leave. Kami agrees, however he asks Maris to make one stop first. Maris carries Gohan, then him and Kami leave the battlefield. Bardock recognizes that the only way to end this fight is for him to go full power, but if he does that, everybody around him's gonna die. He orders the others to leave while he takes down this creature. Broly tries to protest, but Vegeta tells him that he should accept this display of Saiyan pride, truly fit for the king. In actuality, if Bardock dies along with Kakarot, it would make taking the throne much easier for Vegeta. Granola agrees, and so the trio all fly away, calling down one of the galactic patrol ships in the sector. Thankfully, Jocko was passing by, so he picked them up. He was skeptical of helping the Saiyans, though he'd agree to do so when Maris tells him. As Bardock prepares to go all out, a hand is placed on his shoulder. He turns to see Tora, telling Bardock that it isn't his place to die here. They'll right their wrongs and take this creature down with them. Obviously, Bardock wants to protest this, but the Supreme Kai places a hand over his shoulder. It's not his place to get in the way. Recognizing that they're right, Bardock smirks somberly, telling his friends that he's glad they came to their senses. He then bids them farewell as Shin and Kibito teleport him away. Tora, Foster, Shugesh, and Borgos then all power up into Super Saiyan and would begin to glow. In unison, they unleash the strongest self-destruction they can muster, destroying a large chunk of the planet in the process. Unfortunately though, all it does is slow Buu down temporarily as he simply regenerates from it and flies away to go destroy other planets. On the Supreme Kai's planet, Bardock would be with the Kais, with them telling him about the Z-Sword. If he trains with that, he might become strong enough to defeat Buu. Bardock at first wonders how a simple sword can make him so powerful, but agrees and would begin training with the Z-Sword. While he does so, Shin would get to talking with them. He asks Bardock about what he plans to do after killing Buu, with Bardock bluntly stating that he will continue fighting his war. The Supreme Kai asks Bardock if that truly sounds like a fulfilling life. Constant bloodshed and death of his comrades for no reason. He spared his 4 squad mates earlier, and that choice led him to be able to escape. Maybe it's time for the Saiyan to rethink his ways. This conversation about his morals gets Bardock agitated enough to break the Z-Sword while training with it, leading to the Elder Kai being freed. He then offers to awaken Bardock's potential, and while Bardock wants to refuse this handout, hearing that it simply used his own power would make him begrudgingly agree. It's safer than always hulking out into that green-haired form anyway. Gohan will wake up in a vessel he doesn't recognize to see Kami. The god explains what happened on Earth, which gets the boy upset at his father's defeat. Right now, they're on Kami's old ship with Maris outside pushing it. He tells the boy to not worry about all those who have perished, as he has something that can fix it all, the Dragon Balls. They then arrive at their location, being a planet that Maris deems the best place to train. He tells Gohan about the time chamber here, and that he's going to train him. There's something that he can teach Gohan, which he believes will be enough to defeat Buu, so the duo would begin training. Here would enter a time skip of about 4 months. months. Bardock would have attempted to defeat Buu, but unfortunately, even with his own ultimate form, he fails to do so, as this Buu is just insanely powerful. His strength continuously rises, and while Bardock can keep up, Buu is just too much for him. So Bardock would be forced to retreat after their first fight. With Buu threatening all life in the universe, the Galactic Patrol and the Saiyans would enter into a temporary alliance, fending off Buu whenever he pops up nearby. Even Vegeta would stop plotting to become king at the moment, as he knows they have much bigger issues to deal with. With forces being so low, Bardock would actually be prioritizing protecting people over seeing the forces as expendable. In their last fight, he even saves Granola from what would have been certain death, managing to escape from Buu by letting the planet they were on get destroyed. On planet Vegeta, the Saiyans and the Galactic Patrol would be assessing the damage of Buu in the galaxy as a whole, as well as the forces they have lost. Cheekily, Granola remarks that he doesn't believe they'll get to finish their battle, with Bardock agreeing with him. Buu's gonna wipe out the whole universe at the rate he's going. They need to figure out some way they can take him down. Speaking up, Vegeta says that he believes he may have figured out something, though it isn't done yet. He requests permission from the king to leave and figure it out, with Bardock granting it, so Vegeta would go off somewhere unknown. Unfortunately though, Vegeta will not be their saving grace, as they all see a bright pink light appear over the horizon of planet Vegeta. Everybody looks up in horror, recognizing what this means, as Buu lands on the surface of the planet, roaring like a beast. Bardock powers up, ordering the weaker people to flee as he rushes towards Buu. Following behind him, Granola and Broly would power up, charging in to fight Buu. As much as they all fight, Buu's strength is just way too much for them. Bardock is the only one that can even remotely keep up with Buu, but even then, he's having to fight defensively. In this fight, Broly would even perish to Buu, leaving Bardock and Granola in this perilous situation. Both of them recognize that they're going to die here and share one last conversation. Bardock tells Granola that he's glad he saved them from the heaters so many years ago, and Granola says that if he's going to die alongside anybody, he's glad it's with the king. As Buu charges in once more though, he is kicked away by somebody else. Gohan stands there, greeting the duo as Maris shows up shortly behind. Bardock thought Gohan had died, but the boy tells him he's been busy. Now though, he's going to end this once and for all. He'd begin powering up, surrounded by a calm blue aura as his hair slightly stands up. After training for a year in the time chamber, Gohan was finally able to tap into Ultra Instinct Omen. Gohan would then begin to fight with Buu, with Bardock helping his grandson. The duo fighting together would actually be a decent match for the Jin, as they slowly get Buu on the ropes. As they fight, Bardock comments on how strong Gohan has become. Believing Bardock to be seeing him as an asset, Gohan tells them that after this, he's going to join the Galactic Patrol. He's sick of this constant bloodshed, so if he needs to stop the Saiyans himself, he will do so. Bardock snickers, telling Gohan that he doesn't think that's going to be an issue. Maybe he had a point with the idea of the Saiyans needing a change, and that makes Gohan smile. The duo then begin powering up a combined blast, charging towards Buu. Buu began to panic, attempting to absorb them, but Granola and Maris shot away the pieces of Buu as they approached. Both of them rush in, yelling out as they unleash a massive blast which consumes Buu. This blast causes a powerful explosion, and the glow of this could be seen across the universe. When the dust finally settles, every item of Buu has been erased. The threat of Buu was finally resolved as Gohan and Bardock collapsed onto the ground smiling. Bardock mentions how glad he is that they finally won, but the damage Buu has done will remain. The universe is barely standing. Maris assures him though that they have it covered. On what remains of Earth, Kami would be contacted by Maris telling him Buu is gone, so Kami used Shenron, reviving anybody who died as a result of Buu. All over the galaxy, beings would return to life along with their planets. Kakarot, Tora, Fasha, Shugesh, Borgos, and Broly, along with dozens of Galactic Patrol agents and Saiyans returned to life. The universe was saved from Buu's threat as well as the Saiyans. And that, guys, is where we're going to end off part 5 of What If Bardock Was the Legendary Super Saiyan. Make sure you check out part 6 next, which is going to be out at the same time on Super Savage's channel. I think you guys know the deal. We still have 2 parts left to this. We got part 7 and part 8, and I think guys will definitely enjoy what we have planned for that. With all this out of the way, I'd like to give a huge thank you to everybody who's kept up watching this far, and if you haven't already, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, because that's really the best way you can support our channels. And again, make sure you check out the next part. The link to that will be in the description and comment section, probably the pinned comment. But yeah, just make sure you check out part 6 next. Make sure you go subscribe to Super Savage 2 while you're at it, because he's got some pretty cool stuff over on his channel too. And yeah, see ya.